So today's video is a special video because this video is actually an assignment for my education class. So if you're watching this, professor, I'm going to be posting this on my main YouTube channel at the moment, which is where I talk about a variety of subjects. But today's subject is your class because that's the extra credit assignment and I want to do it. And it fits in with the format of what I usually do for my videos. So today I'll be talking about Education 005, which is the class I took this summer. So I took one summer class my freshman year, and that class was about anthropology, and it was also online, and I had a lot of fun in that class. But this is the second class I've taken online during the summer at my stay at UCR so far, and this class I also really thoroughly enjoyed. So when the class started, we learned about the education system and more about the history of education, and it was kind of intriguing to know how the education process has evolved over time, especially because the reason I took the course is because my dad actually recommended it to me. So when I decided I wanted to become a teacher, he recommended I take this course, this intro course, to kind of get a general overview of the education system and how the inner workings. And I also got to learn about the history and also certain strategies that teachers use and certain things that students have been through and just everything overall. It's just, it covers most of everything about education. And so that's what I really liked about the course. It was a good intro course. And the assignment structure was also pretty straightforward. It was 2 papers, participation, and let me check. I think there's one other thing I'm missing. Yeah, discussion post. So it's only 4 certain categories that make up 100% of your grade. The participation being 30%. Now that makes sense because it's an online course and you want to make sure your students are attending the class, of course. So having it be a large portion of the grade, it does make sense. The discussion posts are 20%, also makes sense. They're not going to be as big, but since there's only 4 categories, of course it's going to be pretty big as well. And then the 2 papers make up the other 50%. So throughout the weeks, I feel like the most interesting weeks were the first week 1 and 2, and week 3 was okay, and then week 4 and 5 it got a little bit boring in my opinion, but I think that's just how the class is structured. I really like learning about tracking. I think that was week 2. That was my favorite week because tracking is a very interesting topic about education where students are placed on various tracks depending on how advanced their knowledge of a certain subject is. So if they're really good at math, then they're going to put on a higher track, like the advanced math placement. And then if they're not as good at math, if they're average, then they'll be put on the average one. And then sometimes there's a track for, students who aren't that good at math and need extra assistance. So that was my favorite week by far, week 2. Also, what about this class? The first paper, I wrote about a pencil. So we had to choose an artifact that represented education. And a lot of students probably chose more, interesting news articles. You could choose anything you want. I chose a pencil. And I actually got docked for that. I got, I got a 0 out of 4 on my artifact. Even though I chose one, which didn't make sense. And I talked about this in a different video. But I chose the pencil because it's very meaningful to me. I've used pencil paper all my life, and even now there's some students that use an iPad, but I still use pencil paper. I just love pencil paper, and the pencil itself in general has, it's made me who I am today. The only reason I am so educated is because of it. So that's why I wrote about a pencil, and I actually made a pretty good essay about it too. But the thing is, the professor was so nice. She gave me all the points back for my artifact, and I was able to get 90% of the paper. So very happy about that. That was super cool. The second paper, which I finished writing today, is we had to choose a hypothetical program that we can incorporate into a university or K through 12 to help a certain minority. And so I chose first generation students. So I'm not a first generation student myself, but I chose first generation students because I have a lot of friends that are, and I kind of know their background and what they've had to deal with. And so I felt like I could write a pretty good essay about a way that we can incorporate this program to help first generation students throughout school. A lot of them I talked about, they have to pay for their own college tuition, and so they're going to end up with student debt after college, which really sucks. But it's just because their parents don't have the finances to support them. And not only that, but their parents sometimes put this pressure on them to, get into a very lucrative career because they want to kind of use their child as a way to get themselves out of this lower social class and other stuff like that. But that's kind of out of the question. And what else about the course? I'm just kind of going through the syllabus right now. I would say, Professor, honestly, I do feel bad that like a lot of the students didn't have their cameras on. So I feel like you should, it's kind of a hard question because like if I were teaching in class, I would have a camera on policy probably. But that's kind of like a dick move at the same time. So it's kind of a hard thing. But otherwise, you're not really talking to people face to face. For me, I wanted to have my camera on, especially during the first couple weeks of class, because this is the only thing I was really doing during the summer, and I wanted to give you my full attention and stuff. And so that's why I wanted to participate in class a lot and stuff like that. But yeah, what else should I talk about? I have to fill up 8 to 10 minutes. The grading system's pretty normal. A+ is 97 to 100. A is 94 to 96. So grading system's good. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about was I feel like you should incorporate a little more interactive things in your class. So there's some websites that you can use that you can have like polls, or you can have a website where all the students can go to a certain link and then they can like give their input about a certain topic. Like, there's a lot of interactive websites you can use for a class, online class, and that'd probably be fun for you, but also fun for the students. And then also you can use that as participation as well to kind of make sure they stay, attentive to the class instead of just based off the Zoom logs, because sometimes students will log on to Zoom, but then they'll just not pay attention in class at all. And you won't know that because their camera's off and, it's just Zoom's running in the background. So that's also another thing you should keep in mind. Other than that, I'd say, you're a really good professor. You're super duper nice, and that's great. I really love that about you. And I'll see you for the interview on Monday, and I'll be able to give input about Asian Americans for you. Looks like my video has hit the 8-minute mark, so I'm going to end it here. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the YouTube channel, people.